Jason, you described yourself in the book of being a bit of a troublemaker in your youth. You got kicked out of high school. You were arrested in college. You didn't go to a prestigious college. You went to UCF. It's not always the people with accomplished academic backgrounds that make the best traders, is it?
No, I mean, clearly not. It's not always people with the best academic backgrounds that make the best anything, right?
Yeah, true.
I think in a certain way, I think that having a great academic background maybe works against you in some ways when it comes to trading. It's such a, if you go to Harvard, it's because obviously you worked very hard in high school. You did the right thing. You studied, you did what you were supposed to do, and you were rewarded. You got into Harvard. You go to Harvard, you do the same thing. You work hard, you get good grades, you learn what you're supposed to learn, and you get rewarded. You get a job, working for some Wall Street bank, and it works the same way there. You do what you're supposed to do, you do the right thing, you get promoted, and you're a managing director. And so I feel like you've learned that lesson in a deep way. If I work hard, if I do what I'm supposed to do, if I use my brain, then I'm going to be rewarded. And, the market's a funny thing is that it doesn't really work that way. And I think one of the main reasons it doesn't work that way is because there's so many people like that, those kind of inefficiencies of, okay, I'm smart. Hey, I can read a balance sheet really well, whatever. Those inefficiencies aren't there because there's so many people that are good at it, right? So you have to almost take the approach of like, well, gee, if all these guys can see that, then shouldn't I be looking at the opposite at that point, right? And it's very hard to tell a guy who's gotten straight A's his whole life and has succeeded through using his brain and his hard work his whole life, like, hey, take the opposite of what you think. It's very hard for a guy to justify doing that. Why should I do that? Everything I've ever done has been a success, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of where the dichotomy comes in. It's not to say that people that went to Harvard or went to these good schools can't do well. Clearly there's plenty of people that have done well out of those schools, right? So
yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of, and like you said, we can't speak for everybody, but a lot of people, dealing with adversity, if you grow up dealing with adversity, you have, that obviously prepares you well for the market because, most people don't just come in and crush the markets. You got to learn how to deal with loss. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things as well.
I mean, I can't really say that I dealt with adversity growing up. I created my own, I would say. But like, I wasn't raised in any kind of like, underprivileged situation, my parents were professionals and I had every opportunity at my fingertips and they would have done whatever they would needed to do to help me. But I just chose to be a jerk.
Right. While we're on this topic, I mean, you blew up your account several times. How did you, I guess from like an emotional and a psychological standpoint, how was, blowing up an account? How was that for you?
I mean, I was young, so it's like there's plenty of time ahead of me kind of thing. I had a good job anyway. I had income coming in every month anyway. So it just kind of was what it was, the first time I was 22 years old and I first started trading and it was a massive bull market in Hong Kong. This was like 92, 93, 94. And, when you start like that and you're in a massive bull market and all of a sudden you make a bunch of money, you figure you know what you're doing, you're not old enough or experienced enough to realize, hey, it's just a bull market. And just because I was crazy enough to throw hugely leveraged bets out there because I was young and stupid, it doesn't make me a genius. And, once the bull market ended, the emperor wore no clothes, right? So I had what was coming to me and what was needed. Now, again, I didn't know at the time, oh, gee, this is just a good lesson for me to be trading for the next 30 years. I mean, it sucked, but I had a job. So I just went to work the next day and I tried to figure it out again, Mm-hmm. And the second time, I also had it coming to me because I went and I graduated from business school and didn't take a job and kind of moved to the beach of Thailand and traded from there and thought I was the greatest hero in the world. Here I am 27 years old. I'm living on the beach in Phuket. All my friends are wearing suits every day and going to work and what a joke they are and what a hero I am, So that was just a matter of time as well. Which really goes right into the psychology of why I blew out. I was fighting the market, right? Why do you fight the market? Because you think you're smarter than the market, right? So here I am, 27 years old, money in the bank, living on the beach, doing what I want, right? So it's basically telling myself, hey, I'm smarter than everybody. Well, the market has a pretty good mechanism for teaching you that you're not, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And so that one was a little bit harder, obviously, because I was a little older and I had built up some good money, and I basically lost it all. And I had gotten married in the meantime and had a kid, and, you know, like all of a sudden life mattered. So that one was a little harder, but I chose to take that as, you know, what do I got to do from here to make sure it doesn't, and I wrote down, you know, I went through and filled up a notebook with stuff about, you know, what I did wrong, what I thought I did right, what I have to focus on, and all this stuff. And quite frankly, it didn't hurt that nobody wanted to hire me anyway. You know, I mean, went to business school and all that, and I kind of knew what I was talking about with the markets. But, you know, none of these guys wanted to hire me. Morgan Stanley, whoever, Bear Stearns, you know, you name it. I just didn't get along with the people. You know, most of getting hired, I feel like, and I've hired some people in my life, is people look at you and like, can I sit next to this guy every day? That's like 90% of it, right? Do I trust him? I think he trusts me because I didn't lie, but I was almost too honest. You know what I mean? So it's like, can I sit next to this guy? And I feel like a lot of those people didn't feel like they could sit next to me. I talk a lot of shit, and, you know what I mean? I'm very opinionated, and, you know, who the hell wants to deal with that all day? So the fact that no one was going to hire me anyway meant that I really didn't have very much of a choice. I really had to figure out this trading. The great thing about trading is if you can figure it out and if you can make money, then, you know, you don't really theoretically have to work for somebody like that, you know?
For sure. And, you know, I know Jason as like, you know, a guy from like Jersey, like, did you carry a chip on your shoulder kind of just to this point where you're saying with some of the, you know, you not getting accepted by some of these people, did you kind of move with a chip on your shoulder going forward? Like, all right, you know, if like, fuck these people, like, I'm gonna do my own thing, make it my own way.
I mean, I always kind of wanted to do my own thing, make my own way anyway. I feel like part of me not being hireable to these people was that I really didn't want to be hireable to these people. You know what I mean? Did I need a job? Did I need money? Yes. But did I really want to go to work every day in one of these big trading rooms with a bunch of, you know, people that I thought were, you know, not really sharing the same values in life as I do? No, I didn't really want to. So, you know, one of the guys in one of the Market Wizards books says, in life, you end up getting what you want, right? So I really didn't want that. So maybe that's why I was such a jerk in the interviews, you know?
And I mean, that makes a lot of sense.